The shuttle doors opened with a soft hiss, and Ambassador Lyra Chen stepped onto the polished floors of the Galactic Council station. Behind her walked four figures in simple gray uniforms. They carried no weapons. They wore no armor. They moved with quiet confidence and watched everything with calm, patient eyes. High Counselor Threx observed the human delegation from across the arrival hall. He stood nearly 3 m tall, his scaled body covered in ceremonial plates of hammered gold. 6 eyes tracked every movement of the newcomers, and his mandibles clicked softly in amusement. "Look at them," he said to his aide. "Smaller Villari named Crix. They send their diplomats with nothing but cloth and flesh." Crix checked his data tablet. "Their records show this is standard practice, High Counselor. Human diplomatic teams never carry weapons into council space. Foolish creatures," Threx replied. "They have been part of the galactic community for barely 100 cycles, and they still do not understand how things work here. Power demands respect. Weapons show power. They show nothing." Across the hall, other species shared similar observations. The Korath delegation watched with their forearms crossed over their massive chests. Each Korath guard carried a ceremonial blade made from compressed starship hull metal. These blades could cut through almost anything, and the Corps made sure everyone could see them. The Mandari floated in their environmental spheres, their jellyfish-like bodies pulsing with soft light. They did not carry physical weapons because they did not need them. Their minds were weapons. Every Mandari guard wore a psionic amplifier that could reach into the thoughts of other beings and twist them like wet cloth. The Drexen were perhaps the most frightening. They walked on 4 legs, and around each of their upper limbs coiled a living creature, bioweapons bred across thousands of generations to kill with perfect efficiency. These creatures hissed and clicked as the Drexen passed, always hungry, always ready. And then there were the humans, 4 guards in simple uniforms, standing behind a small woman with black hair and kind eyes. Ambassador Chen smiled at the various delegates as she passed. She nodded politely to the Korth. She offered a small bow to the Mindari. She even acknowledged the Drexen with a respectful gesture. "She acts as if she belongs here," Threx muttered, "as if she is our equal." The truth was that humanity had surprised everyone when they first made contact with galactic civilization. Most species expected them to be easy to control. Humans were small, their technology was crude, their planet was unremarkable, or so everyone thought. But humans proved difficult to manage. They asked too many questions. They demanded seats at council tables. They built colonies faster than anyone expected and formed trade relationships with species across the quadrant. Now, they were requesting an emergency session to discuss the border conflicts. In the Helix Nebula, several human colonies existed in that region, and recent attacks had killed many of their people. Threx saw this as an opportunity. He walked to the center of the arrival hall where delegates traditionally greeted each other. His guards flanked him, each one carrying enough weaponry to level a small building. "Ambassador Chen," he said, his voice deep and echoing, "welcome to the council station. I see you have brought your escorts." Chen stopped and looked up at the towering. She did not step back. She did not show any sign of fear or concern. "Hi, Counselor Threx," she replied warmly. "Thank you for the welcome. Yes, these Are my guards, Captain Okonkwo and her team? Thrax looked at the 4 humans. 3 men and 1 woman. They stood perfectly still, their eyes moving slowly across the hall, watching everything. One of them, the woman called Akono, met his gaze directly. Something about her eyes made Thrax uncomfortable. He could not explain why. She was so small, so fragile looking compared to his warriors, but her eyes held something old and patient, like a predator waiting by a water hole. Your guards carry no weapons, Thrax observed. They do not need weapons, Chen said simply. Thrax clicked his mandibles in what passed for a laugh. Among his people, every being needs weapons. Ambassador, the galaxy is a dangerous place. Surely you understand this, given your request for an emergency session. We understand danger. Very well, Chen replied. Her voice remained calm and friendly. But we have found that weapons often create more problems than they solve. We prefer other methods. Other methods, Thrax repeated. How interesting. I look forward to learning about these methods. During our session tomorrow. He turned and walked away, his guards following in perfect formation. When he was far enough away, he spoke quietly to Crix. Contact the other delegations, the Korath, the Mandari, the Drexen. Tell them we will be discussing the redistribution of the Helix Nebula. Redistribution, High Counselor. The humans have colonies there, but they cannot protect them. Their weakness is obvious. It is time we reminded these newcomers that the galaxy belongs to the strong. Crick hesitated. Is that wise? Humans have proven unpredictable in the past. Unpredictable, Thrax snorted. They send their diplomats without protection. Their military forces are scattered across too many systems. Their technology is generations behind our own. What could they possibly do? Back in the arrival hall, Ambassador Chen watched the Valeri leave. Her smile faded slightly. Captain, she said quietly. Sarah Conquo stepped closer. I saw it, Ambassador. They are planning something. Yes, tomorrow's session will be interesting. Should I contact Earth? Request additional support? Chen shook her head. No, 4 guards are more than enough. Besides, we do not want to give them any excuse to escalate. Not yet. Akono nodded. She looked around the arrival hall at all the armed guards, the weapons, the displays of power. Her expression did not change. They think we are weak, she said. They do, Chen agreed. They are wrong. They are, Chen said, but they do not know that yet. And with luck, they will never need to learn. They walked toward the human embassy section of the station. Around them, aliens whispered and pointed. Some laughed at the unarmed guards. Some shook their heads in pity. Some simply ignored them as unworthy of attention. None of them understood. None of them knew what walked among them. Not yet. But soon the Galactic Council would learn a lesson that would echo across the stars. They would learn why humans smiled so easily, why they spoke so softly, why they came to the table with open hands, and they would learn why that should terrify them more than any weapon ever could. Ambassador Chen knew something was wrong the moment she entered the grand chamber. The room was enormous, built to hold representatives from hundreds of species. Seats rose in circles around a central speaking platform, and massive screens displayed translations in dozens of languages. Light from artificial stars filled the space with a golden glow, but today the light seemed darker. The air felt heavy with tension. Chen walked toward the Human delegations assigned seats. Her 4 guards followed in their usual formation, 2 in front, 2 behind. They moved smoothly, their eyes scanning every shadow and corner. Captain Chen said softly, "What do you see, Sarah?" Okonkwo answered without moving her lips. "Velari guards have tripled their numbers. Korath delegation has positioned warriors at every exit. Mandari are projecting some kind of psychic field. I can feel pressure in my head, and the Drexen, their bioweapons, are agitated. They smell blood." Chen nodded slightly. "It seems we are expected." She took her seat and folded her hands in her lap. Her guards stood behind her, perfectly still, watching everything. Other delegates filled the chamber, and the noise of many conversations filled the air. High Counselor Threx entered last. He walked slowly to the central platform, his gold armor gleaming, his 6 eyes bright with confidence. Behind him stood a wall of warriors. "This emergency session will now begin," Thrax announced. His voice echoed through the chamber. "Ambassador Chen of Earth has requested we discuss the situation in the Helix Nebula. However, the Council has decided to address a broader matter first." Chen raised an eyebrow but said nothing. "The Helix Nebula has been a source of conflict for too long," Threx continued. "Multiple species claim territory. Their resources are being wasted on border disputes. The Council has determined that a redistribution is necessary." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Many delegates seemed surprised, some seemed pleased. After careful consideration, 3 said, "We have decided that human colonies in the Helix Nebula will be relocated. These territories will be divided among established council members who have the power to maintain proper order." Chen stood slowly, every eye in the chamber turned to her. "High Counselor," she said, her voice calm and clear, "are you saying that the Council intends to take our colonies by force?" "We are saying that humans have proven unable to defend their claims. The strong must maintain order. You have 30 cycles to evacuate your people. After that time, any human presence in the region will be considered trespassing." The core delegates clicked their approval. The Drexen hissed with pleasure. Even some neutral species nodded in agreement. Chen smiled. It was a strange smile, soft and sad, but also somehow dangerous. "We reject this proposal," she said simply. The chamber fell silent. Threx's mandible spread wide in shock. "You reject," he repeated. "Ambassador, you seem to misunderstand your position. This is not a negotiation. This is a council decision. You have no power to reject anything." "Nevertheless," Chen replied, "we reject it. Those colonies are home to millions of our people. We will not abandon them." Threx stepped closer to the edge of the platform. "Then you leave us no choice. The Council will enforce its decision. Your people will be removed willingly or otherwise. I would strongly advise against that course of action." The High Counselor laughed. It was a harsh, grinding sound. "Advise? You stand there with 4 unarmed guards surrounded by the greatest warriors in the galaxy, and you offer advice?" He raised one clawed hand. "Perhaps a demonstration is needed. Perhaps you need to understand what power truly looks like." What happened next was clearly planned. A Korath warrior drew his blade, a massive weapon that hummed with compressed energy. He stepped toward the human delegation, his movements aggressive. At the same moment, a Drexen released one of its Bioweapons. The creature, a serpentine thing with too many teeth, shot across the floor toward Chen's position. The Mendari increased their psychic pressure. Many delegates grabbed their heads in pain. The field was designed to paralyze, to overwhelm, to crush resistance. This was not a negotiation. This was a threat. Display of force meant to break human resolve. The galaxy expected the humans to run, to scream, to beg for mercy. Instead, something changed. The 4 human guards moved, not backward, not away from danger. They moved forward. Toward it, Captain Okonkwo stepped in front of Ambassador Chen. Her posture shifted, her knees bent slightly, her hands rose, her weight centered perfectly. She no longer looked like a diplomatic escort. She looked like something ancient, something hungry. The Corinth warrior was fast. His blade cut through the air with killing speed. Okonkwo was faster. She stepped inside. His reach, too close for the blade to work properly. Her hands moved in a blur, striking points on his arm that should not have mattered. The warrior gasped. His blade fell from suddenly numb fingers. Before he could recover, Okonkwo twisted, and the massive Koreth flew through the air, crashing into 3 of his companions. The bioweapon reached the human position. It leaped at Chen with its jaws wide. One of the male guards, a man named Tors, caught it. His bare hands closed around the creature's throat. The bioweapon thrashed and bit, tearing skin, drawing blood. Tors did not let go. His face showed pain but no fear. He squeezed, and something in the creature's neck cracked. He went limp. Tors dropped the dead weapon and stood ready. Blood ran down his arm. He ignored it completely. The Mendari pushed harder. With their psychic attack, most species in the chamber were crying out in agony. The pressure was immense, designed to shatter minds. The humans seemed to notice it like a mild headache. Interesting, Okonkwo said, her eyes found the Mendari delegation. Is that the best you can do? For the first time, the Mendari showed something like fear. Their forms pulsed rapidly, and they withdrew. Their mental assault, touching human minds, was like touching fire. Painful and dangerous. The chamber had gone completely silent. The entire attack had lasted less than 10 seconds. 1 Koreth warrior was unconscious. Bioweapon was dead. The Mendari were retreating, and the 4 human guards stood ready for more. Their eyes bright, their bodies loose and prepared. Not one of them had drawn a weapon. They did not have weapons to draw. They did not need them. Ambassador Chen remained in her seat through all of this. She had not moved. She had not shown any fear. She picked up a cup of tea from her small table and took a slow sip. Hi, Counselor Threx, she said. Her voice is calm as ever. I recommend you reconsider your proposal. Humanity came to this galaxy seeking friendship. We still seek it, but we will not be bullied, and we will not abandon our people. Threx stared at the humans. His 6 eyes blinked rapidly. His confidence had cracked. This session is adjourned, he said quickly. We will discuss this matter further at another time. He turned and almost ran from the chamber. His guards followed, no longer looking quite so proud. Around the grand chamber, delegates whispered to each other. Questions spread like fire. What were these humans? How had 4 unarmed guards defeated attacks that should have killed them? Why had they not retreated? Why had they not been afraid? Captain Okonkwo helped Tors bandage his wounded arm. The medics wanted to take him to the medical bay, but he refused. Just scratches, he said. The wounds were not scratches, they were deep and bloody, but Torres smiled as if nothing had happened. Ambassador Chen finished her tea and stood. Come, she said to her guards, let us return to the embassy. I believe we have given the council much to think about. As they left, Akono glanced back at the chamber. Hundreds of alien eyes watched them go. They will investigate us now, she said. Yes. Chen agreed. They will, and when they learn the truth, Chen smiled that strange, sad smile again. Then they will understand why we came in peace and why they should be grateful that we did. Intelligence Director Morek sat in his office surrounded by holographic screens. He had not slept in 3 days. He had not eaten in 2. The information in front of him demanded all his attention. Morex was the head of Velari Intelligence Services. He had spent his entire career studying threats to his people. He had analyzed enemy fleets, predicted invasions, and uncovered plots that would have destroyed nations. He did not believe in mysteries. Every question had an answer. You simply needed enough data, but the humans were breaking his understanding of the universe. After the incident in the Grand Chamber, High Counselor Threx had ordered a complete analysis of human military capability. The task fell to Morax and his team of researchers. They expected to find the usual information: weapon specifications, ship designs, troop numbers. What they found made no sense. Human weapons were standard projectile systems, energy weapons, explosive devices, nothing special. Their ships were adequate but unremarkable. They had no secret fleet, no hidden super weapon, no technological advantage that explained what had happened in the council chamber. And yet every species that had fought humans in ground combat reported the same thing. Battles that should have been easy victories became nightmares. Marax pulled up report after report. Korareth assault team with superior numbers and weapons attacked a human colony. Half the team died. The humans lost a handful of defenders. A Velari occupation force landed on a human world. Within 3 cycles they were begging for evacuation. The humans had not beat them in open battle. They had been hunted through forests and cities, killed one by one, driven mad by enemies who never seemed to sleep. This makes no sense, Morex muttered. He called in specialists from the Galactic Science Academy. He demanded medical files, biological analyses, environmental reports. He contacted spies who had observed humans in their natural environments. He gathered every piece of information available. Slowly the picture became clear, and it terrified him. The first shot came from the medical data. Human bodies were not fragile, they were remarkably tough. Their bones could heal after breaking. Their skin could repair itself after being cut. Their immune system constantly fought off microscopic invaders. Millions of battles happening inside each human at every moment. They could lose significant amounts of blood and continue functioning. They could sustain injuries that would kill most species and simply refuse to die. Their bodies ran on a chemical system that included something called adrenaline, substance that, when released temporarily, enhanced their strength, speed, and resistance to pain. One researcher showed Morex footage of a human athlete. The creature ran long distances, not short sprints but endless running that continued for hours. Other animals fled. From threats, humans chased them. They chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. They are pursued predators. The researcher explained nervously. Their ancestors did not need to be faster than their prey. They simply needed to keep following. Eventually, everything else gets tired. Humans do not. The second shock came from the psychological profiles. Morex had assumed that the Council's psychic attack would have affected the humans. The Mandari were masters of mental warfare. Their abilities had broken the will of countless enemies, but touching human minds was dangerous. The Mandari, who had attempted the attack, reported disturbing findings. Human minds were not organized like other species. They were chaotic, filled with conflicting emotions, random thoughts, and strain impulses. Worse, when threatened, human minds did not retreat or surrender. They attacked back. The researchers called it fight-or-flight response. When humans faced danger, their entire body and mind shifted into a different mode. Their hearts beat faster, their muscles tensed, their thoughts became focused on one thing: survival. Most species experienced fear as a signal to run away. Humans experienced fear as fuel. It made them more dangerous, not less. The third shock came from the environmental analysis. Morex had always assumed Earth was a typical garden world, pleasant, safe, comfortable, breeding ground for soft creatures. He was completely wrong. Earth was a death world. The planet's surface was covered with dangers. Predators hunted in every environment, swimming in the oceans, flying through the skies, hiding in the forest. Some killed with venom, some killed with teeth and claws, some killed with diseases invisible to the eye. The climate shifted dramatically. Seasons brought deadly cold or scorching heat. Storms could destroy entire regions. The ground itself sometimes shook, bringing buildings down on those inside. And through all of this, humans had not just survived, they had dominated. They had faced ice ages that covered half their planet. They had survived volcanic eruptions that blocked out the sun. They had fought against every predator and won. By the time they reached the stars, there was nothing on Earth that could threaten them anymore, because they had killed everything that tried. Director, one researcher said carefully, I have completed the historical analysis you requested. Morex looked at the data. Human history, thousands of years of recorded events. It was a catalog of violence. Wars between tribes, wars between nations, wars between ideologies. Humans had been fighting each other since before they had words to describe it. They had developed weapons to kill at a distance. They had built machines specifically designed to destroy other humans. They had created entire philosophies around the concept of warfare, and they were good at it. Terrifyingly good. Some species in the galaxy had fought wars that lasted a few generations. Humans had been perfecting the art of killing for their entire existence. They had thousands of years of practice. The fourth shock came from understanding why humans traveled unarmed. Morex found records from galactic sports competitions. Humans had been quietly banned from physical contests on 17 different stations, not because they cheated. Their technology was too primitive for effective cheating. They were banned because of what they could do without technology. Human runner had outpaced Korth warriors in endurance races. A human fighter had killed a Drexen warrior in unarmed Combat bare hands against weapons. Human reflexes and coordination made them deadly even without weapons. Their bodies were weapons they did not need. Guns or blades because they could kill. With their hands, their feet, their elbows and knees, every part of a human body could be used to cause damage, and their minds knew exactly how to use those tools. Morex leaned back in his chair and stared at the ceiling. His people had threatened these creatures. His people had tried to take their homes. We are fools, he whispered. He prepared his report for High Counselor. Threats, the conclusions were simple and terrible. Humans were not weak. They were the most dangerous species the galaxy had ever seen. They came from a death world that had forged them into perfect survivors. Their bodies could take tremendous damage and keep fighting. Their minds refused to surrender even when defeat was certain. They did not bring weapons because they did not need them. A human was always armed, and most disturbing of all, they had come to the galaxy offering friendship. They had extended open hands and kind words. They had asked for nothing but fair treatment and mutual respect. They are holding back, Morex wrote in his final assessment. What we saw in the council chamber was restraint. They disabled our warriors, but did not kill them. They could have done so much worse. The humans want peace. They genuinely want it, but if we force them into war, we will lose. We will lose badly. And based on their history, they will not stop until we are completely destroyed. He sent the report and waited. He hoped Thrax would listen. He feared Thrax would not, and he knew with cold certainty that the future of the Velari people might depend on what happened next. High Counselor Thrax threw Morex's report across his desk. The holographic pages scattered and faded. Nonsense, he growled. Fear-mongering and speculation. High Counselor Morex said carefully, I have spent 3 days gathering this data. Evidence is clear. The evidence shows that 4 humans got lucky in a brief encounter, nothing more. Thrax stood and paced his office. You want me to tell the council that we should fear these creatures? That we should surrender our claims because of some ancient history and biological curiosity? I want you to understand the risk if we push them too far enough. Thrax raised one clawed hand. The redistribution will proceed. The humans refused our generous offer. Now they will see what happens when you defy the council. Morex felt his heart sink. What are you planning? Demonstration. If their ambassador will not listen to reason, perhaps she will listen to force. I'm sending a team to the human embassy. They will take Ambassador Chen into custody and eliminate her guards. Once the humans see that their representatives are not untouchable, they will learn their place. High Counselor, I strongly advise against this. Your advice is noted and rejected. Return to your office. Director, watch the operation on the security feeds. Perhaps you will learn something about how real power works. Morex left without another word. There was nothing he could say. He had given his warning. It had been ignored. Now he could only watch and hope the damage would not be too severe. The strike team assembled in the station's military section. 30 Thai warriors, the finest soldiers in the quadrant. Each one wore advanced combat armor that could resist plasma fire and kinetic impacts. Each one carried weapons capable of destroying armored vehicles. Their commander, strike leader Voss, gathered them for final instructions. The human Embassy has minimal security. 4. Guards, no heavy weapons. Our mission is simple: breach the entrance, neutralize the guards, secure the ambassador. We want her alive if possible. The guards are expendable. His warriors nodded. This would be easy. 30 against 4. Superior numbers, superior weapons, superior training. They moved through the station corridors with perfect military precision. Other species saw them coming and quickly got out of the way. This was Velari power on display. Reminder to everyone of who truly controlled the galaxy. The human embassy was a modest building on the station's diplomatic level, simple architecture. Few windows, a single main entrance. The humans had made no attempt to fortify it. Breach formation, Voss commanded. His warriors spread out. Half would enter through the front, half would breach through the walls. They would overwhelm the humans with speed and numbers. High above, security cameras recorded everything. The feeds were transmitted directly to the council chamber, where hundreds of delegates watched on massive screens. Threx had wanted this to be public. He wanted everyone to see humanity humbled. Breach now, Voss ordered. Plasma cutters burned through the embassy walls. The main doors were blasted off their frames. 30 warriors poured into the building from multiple directions, weapons ready, searching for targets. They found Ambassador Chen sitting at her desk reading a data tablet. She looked up as armored soldiers surrounded her. Good evening, she said calmly. Can I help you? Ambassador Chen, Voss announced. You are under arrest by order of the Galactic Council. Your guards will surrender immediately or be eliminated. Chen smiled. That strange, sad smile. I see. And did High Counselor Threx authorize this action? The Council has authorized whatever is necessary. I understand. Chen sat down her tablet. Captain Okonkwo, it seems we have guests. For a moment nothing happened. Voss looked around. The embassy appeared empty except for the ambassador. Where were the guards? Then the lights went out. Complete darkness filled the building. Emergency lighting flickered, but did not activate. Voss heard one of his warriors stumble. Activate night vision, he ordered. His helmet system switched to thermal imaging. The world became a blur of heat signatures. His warriors glowed bright against the cooler walls, but where were the humans? He saw one heat signature sitting calmly at the desk. The ambassador. She had not moved. Then he saw the others. They were everywhere, moving through shadows that should not have existed. Their body heat was strange, lower than expected, almost invisible against the background. They were ghosts. Contact left. One warrior shouted. The shout turned into a scream. Voss spun toward the sound. He saw one of his soldiers flying through the air, thrown by something fast and brutal. The warrior crashed into 2 of his companions, and all 3 went down. More screams, more chaos. His warriors opened fire, plasma bolts lighting up the darkness. They hit walls, they hit furniture, they hit nothing. The humans were already gone, moving to new positions before the shots could reach them. Voss saw a shape appear behind one of his warriors. Human hands moved with terrible precision. The warrior's armor joints, the weakest points, were targeted. Something snapped, something cracked. The warrior fell. It was Captain Okonkwo. She moved like water, flowing from one target to the next. 3 warriors fired at her. She was already somewhere else. 2 more tried to grab her. She used their own momentum. against them, turning their strength into weakness across the building. Other human guards were doing the same. Tors still bandaged from the weapon attack took apart a squad of 5 warriors in less than 20 seconds. He took hits that should have killed him. Plasma burns scorched his skin. He did not slow down. One human guard, a quiet man named Park, faced 8 warriors. Alone, he did not fight them directly. He led them through doorways and corridors, using the building itself as a weapon. Doors closed at the wrong moment. Furniture became obstacles. The warriors tripped and stumbled and fell over each other, and while they were confused, Park struck fast, precise, devastating. The 4th guard, a woman named Reyes, had found the embassy's environmental controls. She manipulated air pressure, temperature, and lighting. The Velari warriors were creatures of desert worlds. They struggled in sudden cold. Their eyes had difficulty adjusting to rapidly changing light. Reyes gave them no time to adjust. 4 minutes. The entire assault lasted 4 minutes. In the council chamber, delegates watched in horrified silence. 30 elite warriors against 4 unarmed humans. The outcome should have been obvious. It was obvious, just not in the way anyone expected. When the lights came back on, 26 Vari warriors lay on the floor. Some were unconscious, some were groaning in pain, none were dead. The humans had been careful about that. Voss stood surrounded by the 4 human guards. His weapons were gone, his armor was damaged, he could barely move. Captain Okonkwo stepped forward. Her uniform was torn, blood ran from cuts on her face and arms. She was breathing hard, but she was smiling. Strike leader Voss, she said, I believe you were looking for us. Ambassador Chen rose from her desk and walked through the destruction. She did not seem disturbed by the unconscious warriors scattered across her embassy floor. Captain, please escort our guests to the medical bay. Make sure they receive proper care for their injuries. Yes, Ambassador. Akono grabbed Voss by his armor and began dragging him toward the exit. She was smaller than him by half. She moved him as if he weighed nothing. Before they reached the door, she stopped and looked directly at one of the security cameras. She knew the council was watching. She wanted them to see. We came in peace, she said. Her voice was calm and steady. We still want peace. But understand this, we do not carry weapons because we do not need them. We are the weapons. She paused. Her eyes were hard as stone, and we are being very, very patient with you. The feed continued for another moment, showing the human guards carefully moving injured Velari to safety. They treated their attackers with respect, even kindness. Then the transmission ended in the council chamber. No one spoke for a long time. High Counselor 3 sat in his chair, his 6 eyes wide, his mandibles hanging loose. He had wanted a demonstration. He had received one, just not the kind he expected. Morex watched from the intelligence gallery. He did not say anything. He did not need to. His report had been proven correct in the most brutal way possible. Around the chamber, delegates began to whisper. The whispers grew louder. Questions spread like wildfire. What were these humans? How had they done this? And most importantly, what would happen now? The galaxy was about to find out. The emergency session began at dawn. Station time. Every seat in the grand chamber was filled. Every delegate had come. No one wanted to miss what happened next. High Counselor Threx's seat was empty. An announcement had been made earlier. The High Counselor had suffered a sudden illness and would be stepping down from his position immediately. No one believed it was truly an illness. Everyone understood what had really happened. His replacement was a young Valari named Sara. She was known for being cautious and diplomatic, the opposite of Threx in every way. She stood at the central platform looking uncomfortable but determined. This session will come to order, she announced. We are here to discuss the incident at the human embassy and its implications for council policy. Around the chamber, delegates shifted nervously. Many of them had supported Threx's plans. Many of them had laughed at the unarmed human guards. None of them were laughing now. Intelligence Director Marax was given the floor. First, he had been asked to present his findings to the full council. He walked to the platform carrying a data crystal that contained everything his team had learned. Honored delegates, he began, I will share with you what we have discovered about humanity. I warn you, what you are about to hear will change your understanding of these creatures forever. He activated the holographic display. Images appeared in the air above the chamber, images of Earth, of human history, of biological data that told a terrifying story. We believed humans were weak, Marek said. We were wrong. We believed they came to us unarmed because they had nothing. We were wrong. We believed we could intimidate them with displays of power. We were catastrophically wrong. He showed them the death world data, Earth's predators, Earth's disasters, Earth's endless cycles of destruction and survival. He showed them human bodies repairing themselves, human runners chasing prey across endless distances, human soldiers continuing to fight with injuries that would kill any other species. Humans are pursuit predators, Morex explained. Their ancestors did not catch prey by being faster or stronger. They caught prey by never giving up. They would follow an animal for days, weeks if necessary, until it collapsed from exhaustion. This is built into their very nature. Humans do not stop. They do not surrender. They do not know how. He showed them human history, the wars, the weapons, the endless conflict that had shaped their species. They have been fighting for their entire existence. Morex continued. First against the dangers of their world, then against each other. Every human alive carries thousands of years of warfare in their blood. They have developed arts of combat that treat the body itself as a weapon. They have created philosophies around violence and honor and sacrifice. The chamber was completely silent. Delegates stared at the images with expressions ranging from fear to disbelief. But here is what truly matters, Mork said. Here is what you must understand. He changed the display. Now it showed human art, human music, human children playing in gardens, human hands reaching out in friendship across species lines. Humans are not only warriors, they are builders, they are creators, they are dreamers. They came to the stars not looking for conquest but for connection. They wanted to find other minds, other souls, other beings to share existence with. He paused. His voice became softer. They came to us unarmed because they were offering us a choice. They were saying, we do not want to fight. We do not want to conquer. We want to be friends. Please let us be friends. Sara spoke from her seat. And what happens if we refuse their friendship? Marax looked at her. Then we will discover what humans do to their enemies. Their History tells us clearly, when humans face enemies they cannot befriend, they destroy them completely. They have done it to species on their own world. They have done it to each other. He showed a final image, the 4 human guards standing over the defeated strike team. 30 elite warriors brought down by 4 unarmed humans who then cared for their injuries. They could have killed every one of those soldiers. Marek said they chose not to. That was not weakness. That was mercy. They were showing us one more time that they prefer peace. He stepped back from the platform, but mercy has limits. I believe we have reached ours. Ambassador Chen was invited to speak next. She walked to the platform slowly, her 4 guards following behind her. Captain Okonkwo still bore the wounds from the previous night's battle. Torres had fresh bandages on his arm. They moved without complaint, standing tall, watching everything. Delegates of the Galactic Council, Chen began. I thank you for this opportunity to speak. She looked around the chamber. Her eyes moved from face to face, species to species. Humanity has always believed in peace. This is not because we are weak. It is because we understand war. We understand it better than perhaps any species in this chamber. We have waged war against ourselves for so long that we know its true cost. She touched her chest. Every human carries the memory of conflict. It is in our songs, our stories, our dreams. We have created weapons that can destroy entire worlds. We have built machines of death that defy imagination. And we have learned through terrible experience that there are no winners in such wars, only survivors. Her voice became gentle. We came to the stars, hoping to find something better. We hoped that other species might have learned lessons we had not. We hoped for wisdom, for guidance, for friendship. We extended our hands in peace because peace is what we truly want. She smiled. That strange, sad smile. But make no mistake, if peace is not possible, we are ready for the alternative. We have always been ready. It is simply not our preference. She turned to face Sora directly. The Helix Nebula colonies are our home. Our people built them from nothing. Our families live there. Our children are born there. We will not abandon them. If the Council chooses to take them by force, we will fight, and we will not stop fighting until we can no longer stand. The chamber was silent. However, Chen continued, we do not believe it needs to come to that. We believe there is room in the galaxy for all of us. We believe in cooperation, in trade and mutual benefit. We have much to offer: our creativity, our determination, our willingness to work alongside any species that treats us with respect. She opened her hand. Human gesture of peace. So this is our offer. Let us be partners. Let us build something together. Let us show the galaxy what happens when different species choose cooperation over conflict. Her eyes hardened slightly. Or do not. The choice is yours, but understand what you are choosing. She stepped back from the platform and waited. Sora looked around the chamber. She could see the mood had shifted. The fear was still there, but so was something else. Respect, perhaps even hope. The Council will vote, she announced. The question is simple. Do we accept humanity as full partners in the Galactic Council with all the rights and responsibilities that entails? The vote was not close. Species after species registered their approval. The Korath, who valued strength above all, recognized strength when they saw it. The Mandari, who valued mental discipline, had felt the iron will of human minds, even the Drexen whose bioweapons had failed against human determination voted yes. The Helix Nebula redistribution was canceled. Human colonies received full council protection. Trade agreements that had been stalled for years were approved in minutes. Diplomatic relationships that had been cold became warm almost overnight. When the session ended, Sora approached Ambassador Chen. "I hope we can build something better together," she said. "I hope your people can forgive what almost happened." Chen smiled warmly. "There is nothing to forgive. You did not know, now you do. What matters is what we do next." She extended her hand, another human gesture. Sora had learned it meant friendship and trust. The Velari took the offered hand. Human skin against scales, two species once on the edge of war, choosing a different path. As the delegates filed out of the chamber, Morex found himself walking beside Captain Okonkwo. "I read your history," he said quietly. "Your species has done terrible things to each other." "Yes," Okonkwo agreed, "we have, and yet you offer peace. You came here without weapons. Why?" Akono thought for a moment. "Because we are tired of war. Because we hoped the stars would be different. Because we wanted to believe that intelligence could choose cooperation over destruction." She looked at him with those ancient patient eyes. "And because when human diplomatic guards arrive unarmed, it is not a sign of weakness, it is a gift. We are showing you that we trust you. We are giving you the chance to be our friends rather than our enemies." She smiled, and for the first time Morex saw warmth in it. "Please do not make us regret that trust." She walked away, following her ambassador toward the human embassy. Morex watched her go. He thought about everything he had learned: death worlds and persistent hunters, endless wars, an unbreakable determination, a species that could have conquered the galaxy with blood and fire, choosing instead to extend open hands. He understood now. When humans came in peace, it was not because they could not make war. It was because they knew war's true face, and they wanted something better. For the galaxy's sake, he hoped they would find it, and he knew with absolute certainty that anyone foolish enough to threaten humanity again would learn a lesson written in stars and blood. The humans had offered mercy. The galaxy had been wise enough to accept it, for now that was